Set the pill up in my.
Welcome back to Leon the King TV. Let's Talk Wrestling. It's Let's Talk Wrestling on Leon the King TV. I'm surviving COVID, but we still gonna push through and do the show like usual. Y'all know what it is. Back with another video. Make sure to leave a like, leave a comment, hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel now. But Monday Night Raw was last night, and in the main event, we had Seth Rollins versus Jinder Mahal for the World Heavyweight Championship with the title on the line. Seth Rollins wins the match, but it's appeared that Rollins has an injury. After having that match with Jinder Mahal, Seth Rollins has an injury. It has been announced from Fightful Select, Sean Ross Sapp, WrestleZone, different wrestling vlogs and journalists are now coming out and saying that Seth Rollins is now injured. Book.com reports as reported by Pro Wrestling Torch, Rollins was helped to the back following his title defense against Jinder Mahal. Rollins was eventually able to put weight back on that leg and is now walking on his own, but does have a definite limp in his stride. Rollins was visibly Rollins was visibly concerned at the conclusion of WWE Monday Night Raw, standing on just one leg as the referee presented him with the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. There is no clear confirmation on when Rollins suffered the injury, but it was noted that he began favoring it after executive dive to the outside. After executing a dive to the outside of the ring. Backstage, Rollins' attitude was said to be fairly tame about the injury, as he was described as bummed but pretty positive overall. Rollins finds himself in an all-too-familiar place on the road to WrestleMania 40, as he had previously been forced to vacate the WWE Championship and miss WWE WrestleMania 32 due to an injury, and nearly had his WWE WrestleMania 33 match against Triple H called off when he suffered a stinger in the lead-up. How will Rollins' injury impact WWE WrestleMania 40? This shit is wild. Yeah, this is wild. As we know, Rollins is currently what's going to happen. As always, Rollins will relinquish that championship. When Seth Rollins relinquishes that World Heavyweight Championship title, what's going to happen is he'll relinquish the championship. They're going to do some kind of tournament, some 30-man maybe tournament, or a number one contenders match to go on and do like they did back at Night of Champions. Do like what they did at Night of Champions last year in Saudi Arabia, where they had a tournament for the championship, and they had a premium live event. The main event or one of the matches, the premium live event, will be a match for two of the winners of the tournament to go on and face for the World Heavyweight Championship title. So they're probably gonna do like a match at a premium live event booked where two opponents get in the ring and compete, and they'll eventually put the title on somebody in a match at a premium live event. But now it makes it interesting because you got people like Damian Priest in the Judgment Day, where he's Mr. Money in the Bank, just winning the briefcase at Money in the Bank 2023. And then you got people like Cody Rhodes, who doesn't fit in the story of the main event of WrestleMania at all, unless you put him at the main event of night one. But now this also changes the Seth Rollins CM Punk match that everyone wants to see at night one of WrestleMania 40. We probably won't even get Punk versus Rollins at night one of Mania 40. I mean, it's a bummer. It's a bummer, but in this sport, in this industry, this is kind of what happens, you know. Seeing guys get injured, seeing guys take time off, whether it's a torn ACL, whether it's a torn tricep, whether they get a pec, the chest, leg, knee, whatever, arm, shoulder, whatever it is, they take time off, and they get the help they need and they get the surgery done. So as for Seth Rollins, this is probably something that's going to happen as well, where this is just one of those times where he may relinquish the World Heavyweight title, and we'll see some kind of tournament put up for the title. The next person who needs to hold that title is Damian Priest. Either they put it on Damian Priest or they put the title on CM Punk. CM Punk goes to Mania, faces Cody, so we get Punk versus Cody. Cody wins the title, or Punk wins the title. Whoever wins the title in that match at Mania, because that's another thing y'all think about. Will they book Cody versus Punk at night one for the main event of night one at WrestleMania? And then Damian Priest cashes in either on Punk or Cody, and then takes the World Heavyweight title. So we'll see what happens. Let's not forget, Damian Priest is senior Money in the Bank. He's got that briefcase. And that's my prediction. Damian Priest cashes in on CM Punk when Punk defeats Rhodes at WrestleMania. But they're saying that Seth Rollins is officially injured. What does this mean for the stake for night one's main event of WrestleMania? Another WrestleMania without Seth Rollins. Samoa Joe is reportedly being booked this week on Dynamite to go 1-on-1 against the TNT champion, former TNT champion Hook. I like Samoa Joe a lot. I'm a big Samoa Joe fan. Like I said it before. He's the greatest Samoan wrestler on the planet of Earth. He is the greatest Samoan wrestler. He's better than any Samoan wrestler you put against him. He's even better than Zilla Fatu. I'll go that far. But let's be honest, man. As great as Samoa Joe is, he's going to be facing these other names and in AEW on that roster. I love the promo and the segment he cut this past week on Dynamite. We saw him go 1-on-1 against Hangman. We saw him in a segment with Hangman Adam Page. We saw him in a segment with Swerve Strickland. We saw Hook come out and interrupt him. The match I'm really ready to see is definitely Samoa Joe and Hook. I definitely want to see Samoa Joe and Hangman Adam Page, because nobody likes Hangman Adam Page, obviously. I mean, at least I don't. And we definitely want to see Samoa Joe 1-on-1 versus Swerve Strickland. Joe and Swerve can have a great match. This is something I really want to see. This is something that I think will be interesting. This is something that could boost ratings. Because this is the year that Swerve takes that AEW World title. I'm pretty sure we all know that as AEW watchers and AEW fans. We know this is time for Swerve to take that world title and put that championship around his waist and call himself the champ of AEW. So, I want to see Joe have a long reign. I want to see him be champion until he loses to Wardlow. And then we get the whole Undisputed Kingdom part of the World Heavyweight title storyline. Because eventually, later on in the year, I do believe we're going to get Wardlow and Adam Cole for the AEW World title. Like I said before, when Wardlow defeats Samoa Joe and takes that AEW World Championship, we already know there's going to be a segment and a storyline, a feud built up where Adam Cole work a program against Wardlow for the AEW World title, and it probably will happen at Full Gear 2024. I'm predicting that. But this is what's going on with Samoa Joe. He will be facing Hook at All Elite Wrestling Dynamite this tomorrow. And Hook has won 28 of his 29 singles matches in AEW. Yet it is his 30th singles bout that he will be the most memorable as he gets a crack at the world title. Samoa Joe said we'll have to find out where we're at. And this is kind of one of those matches where I feel like the way Tony, if we watch AEW and you compare it to WWE, because it's two different promotions with two different styles. If you watch AEW showcases just wrestling only. They showcase just matches. Anything you watch for AEW is going to be booked weirdly, obviously because Tony Khan don't know how to book. He can't book. Tony Khan don't know how to book no matches, and then WWE they know how to book. The thing with AEW, you're going to get matches showcased only. They're showcasing matches and showing you the true art of pro wrestling. WWE is wrestling, but they're going to show you wrestling ushered with sports entertainment. Wrestling with storylines. AEW has storylines, but AEW is more built on just wrestling. So there's a difference. When you see this AEW WWE war, people realize it's just different companies with different styles. AEW is trying to show you that they're just about matches. They just want to showcase just matches only. That's the problem I have with AEW. if you have no story driven, if you have no storyline, if you have nothing with those matches, it makes me not interested to watch those matches because there's no story. When we watched the AEW, when we all were watching last year, the Devil storyline of who attacked MJF, who attacked the Acclaimed, who attacked everybody on this roster in AEW, we wanted to know who was under the devil mask. So it made you watch the week after. It made you watch the week after. It made you watch the week after. You tuned in, you watched. It was interesting. It had you on the edge of your seat. It had you glued to your seat. It had you wanting to watch who was under this mask and who was this mystery attacker. That's the difference. When you watch it now we know that it's fucking Adam Cole. And now that we know this Adam Cole, we're not interested anymore. So now we're just back to booking a bunch of matches for no storylines. WWE has storylines. WWE showcases stories. They show you storylines. They produce storylines with matches. AEW is not doing that. AEW is just giving you matches, so it feels like when you watch it, there's no direction. Everything is just being booked. Everything is just happening because there's no story. I need to feel like when I watch wrestling, I need a direction. I need to know what it's leading to, what's going to happen. What is this storyline leading to? Who's going to turn? Who's going to turn heel? Who's going to turn into a face? Who's going to turn into a baby face, a heel? There's a direction. Watching AEW, there's no storylines. So AEW needs direction. AEW needs storylines. Make me watch so I feel like it's leading to something. That's the difference. WWE has stories, AEW does not. AEW needs more stories because that's what drives you. That's what makes you buy pay-per-views. That's what makes you watch Full Gear. That's what makes you watch World's End. That's what makes you watch shit. I don't even know that many AEW pay-per-views. That's what makes you watch Double or Nothing. That's what makes you watch Rampage, Collision, Dynamite, Elevation Dark. That's what makes you watch all of that because you need a storyline to keep you interested in watching these damn matches. But on Dynamite, we are getting Joe versus Hook, and I believe it's for an AEW World Title match. I believe it's a title match. So I believe the title is defended. Big news for TNA Wrestling. This past Saturday, was TNA's pay-per-view, Hard to Kill. Hard to Kill was on pay-per-view this past weekend. And Impact Wrestling has originally went back to the name TNA Wrestling, Total Non-Stop Action Wrestling. This is good. This is good. It feels like TNA is back. It feels like it's the TNA Impact that we knew. It's TNA that we watched. It's not the same TNA product. We all know that. It's not what it was when you had Main Event Mafia, when you had AJ Styles, when you had Samoa Joe, when you had Sting, when you had Kurt Angle, when you had Christopher Daniels, when you had Motor City Machine Guns, when you had Team 3D, when you had Consequences Creed, when you had Jay Lethal, when you had Suicide, when you had Um, when their women's division was even better than it is now. Come on, man. Like that was TNA. But like times have changed. And it's not the TNA that we knew it was years ago. Growing up watching TNA, but this is good though, and I'm gonna say it. Yo, I fuck with Impact Wrestling. I'm with Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling is some of the best wrestling you will watch on TV. If you don't believe me, check it out. YouTube it. YouTube Impact Wrestling, and you will know that Impact is some of the best wrestling. Has some of the best wrestling on TV. You'll enjoy TNA. Impact is great. Um, I mean, you got Moose, who's the new TNA World Champion again. You got Dolph Ziggler, who debuted as Nick Nemeth on Hard to Kill. We got AJ Francis debuting on the roster from who used to be signed with WWE, part of Hit Row, who was on NXT. Now he's signed with Impact. So AJ Francis, shout out to him. He's on Impact Wrestling now. But the big debut of Dolph Ziggler as Nick Nemeth, that's huge. I think at first I thought Dolph Ziggler was done with wrestling since he got released from his contract with WWE earlier this year. But we see him back with Impact Wrestling in TNA. And Moose and Ziggler. Yo, that's the match I might have to check out. I don't think I'm paying for pay-per-views like that. Because I would have to probably buy Impact Plus or something, or TNA Plus or something like that to watch all them damn pay-per-views. But man, I wouldn't mind one time buying a pay-per-view to see that match between Ziggler and Moose for the TNA World Title. And TNA is even stepping up their women's division, bro. You got Trinity Fatu on the roster, who's killing it. She did a better job than she did as Naomi in WWE. She did a way better job, and she's doing a way greater. She's greater her career right now than she was in WWE. She's had a way better run in TNA. I will say that, as the Knockouts Women's Champion. And shout out to that new Knockouts title that looks great, by the way. But yeah, man, it's a lot going on in wrestling. You got Deonna Purrazzo in AEW. She's a former TNA girl. But shout out to Deonna Purrazzo for debuting in AEW. She had a match with I believe it was Red Velvet on Collision this past Saturday, where basically Red Velvet jobbed. We all know Red Velvet is an AEW jobber at this point in her career. She jobs to anyone they book her against. So, and then she take out all the shit on social media acting like she the greatest, and she fucking not. But shout out to Deonna Purrazzo for winning that match against Red Velvet on Collision this past Saturday. Deonna Purrazzo is a former Knockouts champion. I used to get her confused with Tessa Blanchard, but yeah, shout out to Deonna Purrazzo. But we got Trinity Fatu, who's Knockouts champion in TNA. We got man, who else do we got? We got Josh Alexander. We got Alex Shelley. I mean, they got a big roster. I mean, you look at TNA's roster, they got a lot of great names and former champions. Let's check the roster. These are the Impact's champions. You have Moose, who's TNA World Champion, main title. You got Jordan Grace, who's a TNA Knockouts World Champion. You got the TNA X Division Champion, Chris Sabin. TNA Digital Media Champion, Crazy Steve. TNA World Tag Team Champion, ABC. The TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Champions, Decay. And here's their full roster. ABC, Ace, Aiden Prince, Alan Angels, Alex Shelley, Alicia Edwards, Alpha Bravo, Brian Myers, Bully Ray. Man, I'm surprised Bully Ray's still wrestling with TNA. Champagne Sai, Chris B, Chris Sabin, Courtney Rush, Crazy Donnie Luna, Diener, Death Dolls, Decay, Dirty Dango, Eddie Edwards, Eric Young, Frankie Kazarian, Gail Kim, Gia Miller, Giselle Shaw, Havoc, Heath, Jack Price, Jai Vidal, Jake Something, Jason Hotz, Jade Chung, I ain't seen her before, Jessica, Jody Threat, Joey Doring, Joey Henry, John Schuyler, Johnny Swinger, Jonathan Grisham, Jordan Grace, Josh Alexander, Josh Matthews, Kevin Knight, Killer Kelly, Killen King, Khan, Kushida. Shout out to Kushida because he used to do NXT. Loretta Kidd, Masha Slamovich, and Masha is awesome. If you ever Google and YouTube a Masha match, the girl can go. Matthew Redwood, Mike Bailey, MK Ultra, Moose, Motor City Machine Guns, Nick Nemeth, aka Dolph Ziggler, Oleg Pretis, PCO, Rascals, Rhino, Rich Swann, Rosemary, Santino Marella, Savannah Evans, Scott D'Amora, Sheldon Jean, Shara, Shogun, Steve Macklin, Subculture, Sue Young, Tasha Steeles, shout out to Tasha Steeles, The Design, The Good Hands, Tom Hannafan, Tommy Dreamer, Trent Seven, Trey Miguel, Trinity Fatu, Zia Brookside, and last but not least, Zachary Wentz. So that's all of TNA's roster. That's the entire damn roster of Total Nonstop Action Wrestling in 2024. So TNA is going to be, if AEW don't get their stuff together, and I mean this by all means, if AEW don't get it together in 2024, Total Nonstop Action Wrestling will be the second best promotion, second to WWE in 2024. Don't believe me? Just watch. Don't believe me? Just watch. TNA will be the second best promotion to WWE in 2024. Mark my words. TNA is finally going to climb the ladder and be the promotion that it once was and was destined to be, because AEW ain't doing it. All Elite Wrestling is not doing it at all. So shout out to TNA. Shout out to TNA Wrestling. Mercedes Moné, I guess, apparently couldn't sign a deal with WWE, which is shocking. They couldn't sign a deal. But hey, it is what it is. And they didn't come to terms with a contract. They didn't. They negotiated, and it just didn't work out. But I could see Mercedes wrestling in AEW. But who are you throwing her against? Deonna Purrazzo, Red Velvet, who loses every fucking match she is in. Who are you booking Mercedes Moné with? That's the question. Because Tony Khan does not book women well in AEW. We all know that. He don't book them well in AEW. Tony Khan don't even can't book right, first of all. And second of all, his women division sucks. Britt Baker DMD is still on injury, and she's one of the producers of AEW. We don't even watch Britt Baker wrestle a lot lately. Thunder Rosa, I think, is still on injury. We ain't seen her. And they lost their biggest name out of the women's division. Jade Cargill signed with WWE, so they don't have no women that they're pushing on that roster. AEW's women's division is hurting just as much as WWE's women's division is hurting right now. Who you gonna put the title on? Who you gonna have her face? Who do you see Mercedes Moné faces? I should put a poll up. You ain't gonna start off facing Sky Blue. She could work with Toni Storm because they were formerly both signed with WWE. So she could work with Toni Storm. I could see that. Toni Storm is the AEW Women's Champion. I don't see her going against Julia Hart right away. So I don't see that happening. But like I said, who in that women's division is killing it right now? Paige barely wrestles because I think she got injured. Half their women's division is either injured or not booked. And their women's division sucks. AEW has one of the worst. TNA's women's division is even better than AEW's women's division right now. It seemed like TNA the only promotion that got the best women's division in all of wrestling right now. WWE women's division ain't doing it. AEW's women's division is not doing it. So it sucks. So is Mercedes really AEW material? That's the question. That's the question. So make sure you leave a like, leave a comment. About that time into the video. Leave a like, leave a comment, hit the subscribe button, and let me know what you think in the comments. Is Mercedes, here's the question, closing out. Is Mercedes Moné AEW material? Leave a like, leave a comment, share the video, hit that subscribe button, and we out.